Hi friends, thank you very much for clicking ABC English. Friends, today on this podcast we'll discuss about a very simple concept and it is related to narration change. Friends, you have seen in direct speech, in direct speech, if there is the reporting verb said, it remains unchanged in indirect speech. Here you can see Ram said, I am a doctor. It is the direct speech. And in indirect speech, we write down Ram said that he was a doctor. Then full stop. In indirect speech, all time we have to uh, use this punctuation full stop because the indirect speech is always assertive. Indirect speech is always assertive. So we have to use full stop. Now you can see the second question. Here Ram said to Sam. Ram said to Sam, I am a doctor. This is the direct speech. And in indirect, we write down Ram told Sam that he was a doctor. So said to became told here in this sentence. This is indirect speech. But here the reporting verb said remains unchanged. We have written here the same word said. Now the question is that why should we write down told here and why should we write down said here? Actually, in books or anywhere you can see the teachers normally tells you if there is said to write down told, if there is said write down said. But the reason, we have to know the reason why do we change here and why it remains unchanged. My dear friends, if you watch this video entirely, I am sure the idea or the concept will be clear to you. Friends, before that, before going to discuss about this thing, I would like to say you another very simple concept. Let's look at this. You know, the term said is a verb and the term here the verb is say or said, that is the past form, and tell or told, that is the told is the past form of tell, said is the past form of say. So the discussion is limited between these two words or these two verbs. So what are the difference between these two verbs? That is our main concept. We have to know it. Friends, you know the verb may be divided into two parts. Not two parts, but here we have to discuss only two things. That's why I told you. So verb is transitive and verb may be intransitive. So here at first verb is divided into two parts, and transitive and intransitive, that is entirely dependent upon the object. That means the verb is transitive or intransitive, it is entirely decided by the object. Who is the object? Object is the receiver of the action. Object is the receiver of the action. Suppose I play football. I play football. Here in this sentence, I is the subject, play is the verb, and football is the object. Why it is object? Because the action, this action play transfer to this football, or to this word, you can say, to this noun, to this noun. That is why it means the football is the receiver of this action. Think about this one. This is the subject and this person is playing. If this is, think about, this one is football. So if the person kicks this ball, and if the ball does not receive this action, it cannot move. It cannot move in its own. First of all, the ball has to receive this kick. That is why it became the receiver. As it became the receiver, we can call this ball, this football, the object of this action. You know, this is the football, this is the object, and this object receives this action. My dear friends, some of the verbs are there that needs object. That means you have to provide one, at least one object for some of the verbs, just like play, just like write, just like eat. So you have to provide, after these verbs, you have to provide at least one object. And intransitive or non-transitive, it means no need to write down any object after these verbs. No object. No need to use any object. Just like go, swim. After that, no object. No need to write down any object. My dear friends, so this is the concept of transitive verb. Now you think about the transitive verb. That means transitive verb means obviously we have to provide object with it. Now friends, this transitive verb is divided into some parts, actually four parts. The first one is monotransitive. Transitive verb may be monotransitive. Transitive verb may be ditransitive. Transitive verb may be ambitransitive. Ambitransitive, or it may be complex transitive. But no need to think about these two types right now. Right now we have to think about these two, one monotransitive and ditransitive. Friends, you know, mono refers one. Mono means one and di means two. It means if the verb is monotransitive, we need one object. If the verb is ditransitive, we have to provide two objects. I think this discussion is clear, or this concept is clear to you. I am going to give you one example. For ditransitive, you think he gave me a pen. Look at this sentence. He is the subject, gave is the verb, and me, that is the indirect object, and a pen, that is the direct object. My dear friends, direct object is the actual object of the verb. So here you can see, and direct object always it will be a thing. Indirect object always will be human being. Human being. So here you can see this is the indirect object and this is the direct object. If you ask the verb by whom, the answer will be indirect object. And if you ask the verb by what, the answer will be direct object. So here you can see, friends, the verb gave is a ditransitive verb. We can call this verb a ditransitive verb. That's why we have used two objects. One is me, another one is a pen. And look at this part here in monotransitive part. So we have to write down only one object, just like this one. I eat rice. He loves me. So here you can see eat is the transitive verb and rice is the object of eat. This is the object and we have written only one object. That means this verb eat is a monotransitive verb. Here loves, the verb loves, the object is me. So the verb loves is a monotransitive verb. My dear friends, these two concepts, monotransitive and ditransitive, should be clear to you. If it is clear, then think about this one. Now look at this. Here, in direct speech, the subject is Ram, said is the verb, and this entire clause, it is the object. As it is a clause, it is called a noun clause. So my dear friends, the verb said has one object. So it's a monotransitive verb. The verb said is a monotransitive verb. That means we have to use only one object with it and we have done the same thing. Here in indirect speech, we cannot write down told here. Told is basically ditransitive verb, but it can be used as monotransitive verb. But in narration change, we use it as ditransitive. We can write down the verb told as monotransitive. But in narration change, normally we use this term as a ditransitive verb. So look at this. So Ram is the subject in my indirect speech. Ram is the subject. Said is the verb. As it is monotransitive verb, the entire clause, this subordinate clause, this is a subordinate clause. Subordinate clause, and obviously it's a noun clause. And this entire clause is used as the object of the verb said. This entire clause, that he was a doctor, is the entire clause. This noun clause is used as object of the verb said. That's why we have written said here. We cannot write down told here. But look at this case. Here you can see Ram is the subject. Said is the verb. And this word Sam, this is object number one. And this entire clause is also an object. It is number two, object number two. Actually, my dear friends, this is the direct object. This is the direct object. This is the actual object. And as we have used the term said here, so we cannot write down two objects with it. That's why in direct speech, we have used the preposition to, and after that we have written its object. Actually, this is the object of the term said. As we cannot use to object with the verb said, we have introduced the preposition to, and after that we have written the noun, which is the object of this preposition. My dear friends, actually we have used this prepositional phrase to relate with this verb. That means this preposition is relating Sam with the verb said. The main thing is that we cannot use two objects with the term said. That's why we have introduced one preposition. Now, in indirect speech, we have written this is the subject, and told is the we have written, we have not written said to. Instead of said to, we have written told. And with this term told, as it is ditransitive verb, we can use two objects with it. Sam, that is the object number one, and the entire clause, this subordinate clause, which is a noun clause, this is the object. Actually, this is the direct object of the verb told. This is the direct object of the verb told. So with the verb tell, we can use two object. This one is the indirect object, and you know indirect object must be a human being, and the direct object must be a thing or any kind of concept. That means this clause is the direct object of the verb tell, and this is the indirect object. That means we have used two objects here. We have used two objects with the verb told. Told has the ability, actually friends, told has the ability to take two objects. Told has the quality to take two objects in a sentence. But the term said, it does not have the strength to take two objects. That is why there is only one object with it. And here, as there is one object, that's why we have used the same form said. Said remains unchanged here. But here we cannot write down said or said to. We cannot write down. We have used the term told here. Actually, it is ditransitive verb. Friends, I think the concept of said and said to is clear to you. That means I want to mean that you can understand these reason. Said remains unchanged, said becomes said in indirect speech, and said to, it becomes told. My dear friends, I think you have got this answer. The question was why, and I'm sure you can understand the reason behind it. Friends, if you like this information, I'd like to request you to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. I'll post these types of very important videos on this channel regularly. So my dear friends, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you.